Hi guys. Hello. I'm coming to you guys from my new meditation room. Um, they're my ancestors, but yeah, I haven't made a YouTube video in a long time, and you guys know me by now. You know I have this cycle of I put out some good videos during the start of the year, and then I disappear for a long time. I go work on other stuff. I post frequently on my blog. Update my Facebook pages, Facebook groups, because I do Facebook groups, things like that. So, all of that stuff will be in the description below. But today's video is about a term. Today's video is about the term man of God. Because, today I scrolled through Facebook, and the thing about being a root worker is that it's considered an ATR, an African traditional religion. Even though it's not a religion at all, it's a spiritual practice integrating with Christianity, but it is traditional African. It does have its African origins. So in my friends list, there is a lot of people that venerate African spirits, that practice ATRs, so Ifa, Lukumi, things like that. And then there are people that also just practice African spirituality in general. And the thing that comes with that is that, some of these people are black nationalists, or they're very anti white culture or anti what they call suppression culture. So they're anti the Christian church, anti government, anti this, that, the third. They have a lot of against things, and I'm like, that's cool. You guys do you. I don't. When it comes to Facebook, when it comes to social media, I don't always comment on things that I don't like, because that's not my place. Like, if you post it on your page, that's your page. You're an adult. It stays on your page. But um, today I saw a video, and the video was of a female preacher, and she was telling people that sometimes when you have a spirit, and when I say a spirit, when the spirit moves you, and some of y'all know what that means, but when you get it upon you to do something in your life, and sometimes you get it upon you to do something in your life, and you feel like that's divinity, or you feel like that's God touching you. Sometimes it's not really God touching you, it's the devil trying to get at you. It's evil things trying to get at you. And what the preacher was saying was, the reason that you have a pastor, the reason that you have a minister, the reason that you have a father, the reason that you have someone to guide you in a spiritual way in the Christian church, is because those things that you might be thinking that you're supposed to do aren't always meant for you. Now, the reason that I feel like I should talk about this is because this woman was like, that's how they get y'all. They got y'all money, they got y'all, they got fancy cars, nice clothes, whoop de whoop blah, but they got y'all dumbasses in there believing that, believing that this is like, you have to do what they say. But here's my thing about that. African traditional religions have men of God too. They do. They have godparents, a padrino, a madrino. Those are people that you trust. You say, hey, godparent, what should I do about this? And they or you say, hey, I have this dream and I want to make it happen. Or is it the right dream for me to do? Is this the right thing for me to pursue? And they'll tell you yay or nay. The thing about it is that the term man of God is it's as versatile. I mean, the term did originate from the Bible, because they were men of God, they were priests of God. There was no priestess of God. That was unheard of, for a long time, for a very long time, to have a female preacher. But the term man of God is so versatile that you could apply it to anything, especially when you studied religion and understand religion and culture. Because I'm just going to explain it to you like it was explained to me one time. There's one God, but there are a million ways to serve that one God. And that's really the truth of the matter, in studying religions, in studying spiritual practices, in studying spiritual origins, in studying neo-paganism, in studying, Afro-Caribbean religions, in studying Catholicism. There are so many ways to serve one God that it doesn't make sense to say that, like this one type of person is a man of God. So saying that this one person in the Christian church is a man of God, like a man of God to me is a woman who is a high priestess of a Dianic church or a Dianic coven. You know what I'm saying? That is a man of God to me too. She might prefer to be a woman of the goddess, but that term, if you say man of God to me, I'm going to say, oh, so you're talking about like priests and priestesses. And you know what? And then, the thing that really like upset me about the video is because that woman was saying, she was not trying to say, hey, y'all are supposed to sit in church, give us y'all money, and don't do things that we don't tell y'all to do. What she was trying to say was, when you talk to your pastor about things like, hey, pastor, you told them not to do this, and that offended me, that hurt my spirit. How dare you? Like, literally, that's what I would say too. How dare you? Like, if I were to go into a ritual or into, a prayer circle at a church that I'm not a member of, or at a group that I'm not a member of, and I was offended by something that I saw there, or something that I heard there, or something that was said there or done there, I'm not going to go up to the priestess, Hogan, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go up to the person and be like, hey, listen, I saw you do this thing, and I don't think you should do that anymore. I don't think that you should do that anymore. I think you should take that out. Because that's not my place. And then you also start to mess with religious traditions, but that's a totally different discussion. I can't tell a person, hey, don't do this because it makes me uncomfortable. That's selfish, first of all. Second of all, that's rude and ridiculous. I can't do that. And the whole point that I'm trying to make here is that when you say the term man of God, I want you to understand, like, what I want you guys to take away from this video. When you hear the term man of God, don't be so closed-minded that the first thing that you think of is an actual man of the Christian religion. Because there are many religions, and there are many religions that do not allow women to be women of God. I want you to understand that. Like, really get that in your spirit. Like, receive that for a second. There are religions that, to this day, that are practiced, and they still discriminate on women being in positions of power. For example, Muslims don't believe in female prophetesses, as they would be called, as Oxygen has, I don't know if it's Oxygen, but one of these TV channels has made a reality show at prophets of God, and I'm like, oh, that's where the church is heading, but it's been heading there for a long time. I mean, anyway, they don't believe in female prophets. They don't believe that females have that gift of prophecy. But I mean, if we read in the Christian Bible, I mean, the Old Testament as well as some of the New Testament. No, none of the New Testament really. The Old Testament is full of female prophets, not necessarily, but biblical figures that did bring the word in some way, shape, or form to people, that did help enlighten people spiritually. That's just another thing. I don't really think of a prophet as like a person that speaks to God. I feel like that's more of an oracle. I feel like a prophet is someone that has a deeper understanding of earth, and they're not necessarily wanting to be a priest, but they have a deeper understanding of how things work and how the universe works and how those laws work, and they use that to help people. Not necessarily for a fee, not necessarily for rhyme or reason, but just because they can. Um, and those are just things that I just wanted to really talk to you guys about. Don't always think of a man of God as a man of God, because there are women of God, there are women of goddesses, there are women of power in spiritual religions and spiritual practices. But also receive in your spirit that there are a lot of spiritual practices that don't allow you to be a man of God. Be a woman of God, excuse me, because they only allow men of they only allow men of God. They only allow people to be, they only allow male figures to be high up in that spiritual practice. Another thing that I want you to take away from this is because, like, sometimes you're going to get told no. Spirit is going to tell you no. As somebody that does readings, as someone that tries to help people, Spirit is going to say, you're running when you should be walking. Better yet, you should be crawling. And you can't get mad at someone for telling you that. Okay? When people tell you, when a person that you go to for spiritual counsel, whether it's paid for or it's just a godparent, I mean, the job of any godparent, whether they're like whether they're like a traditional godparent, so like, when you were born, your parents were like, hey, this is a friend. They asked their really close friend to take care of you and be a godparent. The purpose of a godparent is to not only, provide for you and be there for the birthdays and bring the presents, but they are actually meant to spiritually guide you along the way as well. That's why they're called a godparent. But the purpose of the whole thing about a godparent is, whether it's one that's given to you at birth, or like, one that your parents have chosen, or one that you go into a religion and you're like, I need a godparent, I need somebody to teach me these spiritual practices like a godparent is supposed to do, is that you're going to go to them and ask them for advice, and they should say, or they should at least, they should give you that advice. And sometimes they're going to say, hey, you shouldn't do this. I've had that plenty of times when my godmom, she's like, hey, you shouldn't do this for these reasons, but you should do this as an alternative to what you're thinking. The purpose is, they're not trying to tear you down. They're not trying to tear you down. They're not trying to stop you. They're not trying to stand in the way of your blessing. They're just trying to prevent you from making a choice that might not be correct for you. So, I've said my piece on this whole man of God thing. I just don't see a man of God as one person of God. And then I don't believe that the Christian church is out to make billions of dollars on people. I believe that there are certain pastors. I believe that there are pastors that are out there to make billions of dollars on people. But that's a different video for a different discussion. That's a different discussion for a different video. And I'm going to post some more videos, guys, sometime soon. So stay tuned. Bye.